Healing your inner child is the key to emotional freedom. So in this video, we're going to talk about what is the inner child. We're going to look at the signs of a wounded inner child. And I'm going to share different ways that you can connect to your inner child. So firstly, what is the inner child? The inner child is the part of you that holds on to the emotions, memories, and experiences from your early years. It represents your childhood self, the version of you that felt joy, curiosity, fear, hurt, and wonder before you learned how to filter your emotions to fit into the world. So your inner child can carry both positive and negative imprints. So positive inner child is playfulness, creativity, spontaneity, joy, and a sense of wonder. The wounded inner child is fears, insecurities, limiting beliefs, and emotional wounds from unmet needs or painful experiences. Healing your inner child is about reconnecting with that part of you and nurturing it, acknowledging its pain, offering love and support, and helping it to feel safe. So now we're going to look at the signs of a wounded inner child. We will start with emotional signs: fear of rejection or judgment, struggle with self-worth and self-belief, difficulty expressing emotions or setting boundaries, feeling like you have to prove yourself to be loved, fear of abandonment, struggles with trust, over-apologizing, perfectionism, fear of confrontation, extreme self-criticism. And the behavioral signs are people-pleasing, self-sabotage, attachment issues. So this is like the anxious or avoidant attachment, addictive behavior, struggles with boundaries. Now those are the signs of a wounded inner child. And now I'm going to share different ways on how to connect with your inner child. The first way that you can connect to your inner child is by journaling. And you can do this in a number of different ways. So I'm going to share 3 different ways with you. The first way is by writing letters. You can just write a letter to your inner child. Dear inner child, I see you, I feel you, I hear you, and you just talk to it. And then what you do is you just allow your inner child to write back. And journaling is a really great practice because when you journal, the idea is you want to kind of get into like a free flow state. You don't want to overthink what you're writing. You just kind of want to write. And by doing this, you can actually bring things up from your subconscious mind into your awareness. And so by doing like a journaling session with your inner child, it may cause you to bring things into your awareness to do with your inner child. You know, it could be, you know, what they're needing, where they need healing. And so that's the idea, is to try and bring things up from the subconscious mind. Now, the second way you can journal is just by reflecting. Just reflecting on your childhood experiences, both joyful and painful. And again, by doing this, this is how you can bring these things up from the subconscious mind into your awareness. And the third way is by using journal prompts. So journal prompts are a really great way to like kind of dig into yourself, again, to become aware. And so what it is a journal prompt is where it's like, it's a question that you write at the top of the page, and then you just journal in a free flow way again. And again, this is another great way to heal the inner child by being able to bring things up into your awareness. So I'm going to share a couple of different journal prompts that you could use. The first one is, what did I need as a child that I didn't receive? The second one, What's one happy childhood memory I want to relive? So a journal prompt is just a really great way to just dig into yourself, bring things up from the subconscious into your awareness, help you to become aware of where you need healing, what's holding you back, and also even becoming aware of what you enjoyed doing as a kid. Because a lot of us, we kind of become disconnected from the inner child and we forget what brought us joy. So it's good to reflect on these things. Now, the second way that you can connect to your inner child is through reparenting. Reparenting is where you give yourself what you needed as a child. It could be love, validation, protection, safety. And there are a number of different ways you can reparent. So you could do this by speaking to yourself with kindness and encouragement, setting boundaries that protect and nurture your inner child, and validating your emotions instead of dismissing them. This is another really great practice for healing the inner child. So I highly recommend giving these things a go. The third way to connect to your inner child is by using inner child meditations. Now you can either use guided meditations for this, just search one up on YouTube, or you can go into meditation by yourself and just do it on your own. And this is one of my favorite ways of connecting to the inner child. I find it's really powerful. And so what you do is you just go into meditation and you use visualization and visualize your childhood self. And this is where you can connect to it. You can just talk to your inner child. And as you talk to your inner child, again, you can find that your inner child will talk back. Just like I said with the writing of the letters. You can do the same thing in meditation and have a conversation with them. And, again, it allows you to become aware of certain things that may be in the subconscious. And it's just really powerful work because our inner child is always within us. It's always there. And a lot of us are just disconnected and don't give it that attention. And it's just a really powerful way of, connecting to the inner child and giving it that attention. You can also reparent your inner child in meditation as well. So this is where you just give your inner child that love, that validation, that safety that it didn't get, and just comfort it. You can embrace it in a hug. And this is really healing. I've had clients, I've given my clients the homework of connecting to their inner child. And they've had amazing experiences by doing this that were really helpful for them. So it's really powerful work. And what I would also recommend is if there's any childhood memories, specific negative memories, negative experiences, where, for example, you may have been 5 years old and your parents divorced. What I recommend is that you revisit that version of you, the 5-year-old version that was dealing with the parents' divorce. And you meet it in meditation and, you tell it the things that it needs to hear. You comfort it. You give it that love. And again, it's just really powerful work. Your inner child's always within you and it wants that attention. Now, the fourth way you can connect to your inner child is by healing your childhood wounds. The first step to healing childhood wounds is by doing shadow work around your childhood experiences that still affect you. So we all have a shadow self. This is Carl Jung's psychology. And the shadow is all the repressed and rejected parts of our personality. And most of our shadow was formed in childhood. And by doing shadow work, the purpose of it is to find your wounds so you can heal them. And so that's the first step to healing your childhood wounds. Now, if you're new to shadow work, you've never heard of it before, you don't know how to do it, I'll link a video at the end of this one that is a shadow work for beginners, the ultimate guide. It will teach you everything you need to know so you can start applying it. Now, the second way to heal your childhood wounds is by identifying your limiting beliefs and fears that stem from childhood. So, for example, I had a fear of abandonment. I wasn't aware of it though, but I had a fear of abandonment from childhood because I was born into a broken home, and from a very young age, like around 1 or 2, my father physically abandoned me and my brother because he decided to go and live in a different country, and he lived there until I was about 12. So he basically wasn't around for my childhood, and that's physical abandonment. So that caused an abandonment wound in me. But then there's also emotional abandonment, and this is where your parent emotionally abandons you. It's emotional neglect, basically. So it's like you're a little kid that's upset, you may be crying, you may be told to shut up, stop crying. That's emotional abandonment because the parent's not helping you deal with your emotions. They're basically neglecting you emotionally, because a lot of it's because, like for me, I had parents that were also emotionally abandoned. Like, they're emotionally immature people. So if people don't know how to deal with their own emotions, they're not going to be able to help their kids with their emotions as well. And so there's physical abandonment, emotional abandonment. I had, like, these things caused that fear in me, the fear of abandonment. I wasn't aware of it, but now I am aware of it. And then I've learned to heal that, like get rid of the fear of abandonment by healing the wound. And the third way I recommend to heal from your childhood wounds is by using Dr. David Hawkins' letting go technique. He talks about this in his book, Letting Go. And this is for dealing with our emotions, because none of us have been taught how to deal with our emotions properly. And so as a result, what we do is we suppress them in the body. So a lot of us, have suppressed emotions in our body from childhood that we're just carrying around with us. And these emotions cause problems in our life. It's like when you get triggered by something, you're having an emotional reaction. It's because, like, when you're being triggered, it's because there is a suppressed emotion in the body that's causing it to come up. Something's triggering the suppressed emotion to come up. Because we don't know how to deal with it, we push it back down in the body. Then something else will trigger it to come up. We push it back down. It's kind of like a yo-yo effect. Things trigger the emotion to come up, we push it back down, and it's because we don't know how to actually deal with the emotion. So the key to dealing with the emotion is by applying Dr. David Hawkins' letting go technique, which is where when the negative emotion comes up, you just accept it. Accept how you feel. Accept the emotion without judgment, and you allow it to be there. You just sit with it, be present with it, observe the emotion, observe the physical sensations in the body. And by doing this, you're allowing the emotion to run its course, and then it just clears itself out. And you've successfully let go of a negative emotion by, like, what you look for is feeling lighter and uplifted. You actually feel this release. You feel the emotion leave your body. And so basically we have a lot suppressed in the body. Like, there's a lot to be releasing. And I saw an analogy for this of it being like a tissue box where you're pulling tissues out one by one by one. The same idea. You want to pull these emotions out of the body one by one by one. And again, we've got a lot suppressed in the body from childhood that continues to cause problems in our life. So that's what I recommend doing. Whenever you start experiencing a negative emotion, start applying that letting go technique to start clearing them out instead of pushing them back down. The fifth way to connect with your inner child is play and creativity. Think back to when you were a kid. What did you enjoy doing? You may have enjoyed dancing, but now as an adult, you don't do it anymore. You may have enjoyed doing arts and crafts, but now you're all grown up, you don't do it anymore. So by revisiting your hobbies, it's a great way to connect to your inner child. Another way you can do this is just by engaging in childlike activities. Blowing bubbles, jumping in puddles, watching childhood movies, building a fort, playing with Lego. just engaging in childlike activities. This is one of my favorite ways to connect to the inner child. I've always been I've always been someone that's had a strong connection to my inner child. I'm 37 in a couple of weeks. But you wouldn't think it with the way I run around and play like a kid. I've always had that strong connection. I've always been very childlike. And I'm very good with kids as well. Like I have, nieces and nephews. And, when I hang out with them, I do the kid stuff with them. And like I have fun. And it's really interesting because the kids would all say the same thing to me. They will all say, "You're like a kid." They don't feel like they're hanging out with an adult. They feel like they're hanging out with another kid because I still have that really strong connection to my inner child. I love engaging in the childlike activities. Why? Because it always puts me in a happy mood, like having fun. It raises vibration. It loosens up the energy. It makes you feel more lighter. That's why I recommend, creating a life where you connect to that inner child by doing childlike stuff. I will share an example from 2 days ago. Me and my sister went to a playground with my 1-year-old nephew. And it was a really cool playground. I'd never been to it before, but it was pretty decent. And it had one of those really high slides, the twirly slides. And I saw it like, I'm going down that. The inner child's coming out. I'm going down that. And it wasn't like, to get up to the slide, it wasn't a usual way to get to a slide. Like there was no ladder. It was kind of like netting, but in a spiral that you sort of climbed up. So I started going up there, but as I started getting towards the top, I noticed that it got a lot smaller for some reason. Like I was like looking at it like, I don't think I'm going to fit. I feel a little claustrophobic. So I decided to come back down. I was a little bit gutted because I wanted to go down the slide, but I was like, yeah, it was just too small and tight to try and get up there. And then as I was coming back down, there was a lady that saw me and she goes, "Oh, at least you tried." I said, "Yeah, it's really tight up there." And she said her 4-year-old was up there and she told her 4-year-old, "Don't get stuck because I can't get up there to get you." So I had to come back down. I couldn't go down the slide, unfortunately. But I was literally running around the place just like having fun, going down these cool slides, playing on the swings. Again, raises vibration. It puts you in this, higher emotional state. Makes you feel good. Now that you've learned how to connect to your inner child, take the first step today. Whether it's journaling, meditating, or embracing a playful activity. The key is to start nurturing that part of yourself today. Hope you liked the video and you got value, and if you did, just let me know by hitting the like button or write me a comment. If you like this sort of content, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell notification, and I'll leave the follow-up video here for how to do shadow work if you want to learn more about that. Have an awesome day. Peace.